O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show.
Where can you drive the new 2025 Acura Integra for only $289 a month? There's just one place, Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
It's big. It's gigantic. It's the Toyota of Hollywood Super Sale. Over 2,000 Toyotas from just $17,988. Like a Corolla LE, not $24,000, $17,988. Buy with 0% financing, 0 down. Join the fun and get a super deal at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
If you're looking to take your home or business to the next level, then RM Contractors and Custom Drywall can assist you. RM specializes in new residential turnkey, new commercial turnkey, home and office remodeling. Call them for free estimates. Serving all of South Florida, licensed and insured. Call Ray or Mike, 305-345-3649. You work hard to create the perfect atmosphere. You dream it, we'll build it. RM Contractors and Custom Drywall, 305-345-3649 or Instagram at RMC Fisher Island.
It starts every morning before the sun comes up. Projects are laid out. Plans are made. Equipment is fueled and loaded with inventory to handle all service requests. Orders are given to an army of skilled landscape maintenance professionals, certified arbor trimmers, irrigation technicians, and licensed pest management experts who fan out to communities and businesses all over South Florida. Experienced, on time, and dependable. Our staff is fully trained, licensed, and insured. Contact us by phone, email, social media, or through our website to answer all your landscape questions. We are Cutter's Edge. Total Landscape Solutions.
Where can you drive the new 2025 Acura RDX for only $399 a month? There's just one place, Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
After 40 years, the Big Cheese Miami is still producing great Italian food. They started in 1984. Since then, they've been winning awards while being voted the best inexpensive Italian restaurant in Miami. Visit them for great food, amazing service. Witness the decades of Cane's memories. The walls are like a Miami Hurricanes Hall of Fame. The Big Cheese delivers anything on its menu or party platter menu to your home, office, or even a park for a picnic. Located at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue, Miami. Call 305-662-6855. TheBigCheeseMiami.com, where they serve large portions at family prices.
When it comes to your smile, confidence is so important. At Moody S Dental, they provide the services to get your smile back. This family-run practice prides itself by offering the latest technology to give your family the best experience possible. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years with offices in Hialeah and Plantation. They accept most major dental insurances. They provide free new patient exams, 20% off select treatments. To qualify, please follow us on Instagram at moodys.dental. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years. To schedule an appointment in Hialeah, call 305-821-0231 and Plantation 954-692-6825. From Invisaligns, dental implants, same-day crowns, and the preventative care and preservation to get your smile back.
Before you buy or lease a Honda, Volkswagen, Hyundai, or any other model, compare Subaru, rated #1 in safety at Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Buy with 0.9% financing, 0 down. Forester with symmetrical all-wheel drive, $259 a month. Crosstrek with symmetrical all-wheel drive, $239 a month. During the Subaru A Lot to Love event at Subaru of Pembroke Pines, South Florida's #1 volume Subaru retailer.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
South Florida, listen carefully. Osmani Garcia with Omega Realty Group is changing the game. He's not just listing homes. He's guaranteeing to sell yours in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it himself. No excuses, no delays, no fine print games. This is real. If you're serious about selling, call 305-440-1990 and see if your home qualifies. Osmani Garcia delivers results. Osmani Garcia, the home of the 30-day sale guaranteed, where guarantees are backed by action. Call now, don't wait. This market won't wait for you. Restrictions apply. Call 305-440-1990.
Hi, this is Jeff Welt from Welt & Rayom. Dan and I have been in business together for over 22 years. We're not your typical lawyers. When Dan's not working in the office, he's flying his stunt plane. When I'm not in the office, I'm either getting tattooed, bowling, riding a motorcycle, or going to concerts. We might not be your typical attorneys, but we are aggressive attorneys, and we'll do whatever it takes to get you what you deserve. Consultations are always free. Call us anytime, 24/7.
Welt & Rayom can help.
Can you drive a new Acura ZDX for only $439 a month? There's just one place, Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Good morning, boys and girls, and it is a beautiful morning. It is a beautiful Tuesday as the Florida Panthers are getting one step closer to another appearance in the Stanley Cup Finals. I know we got a couple rounds to go, but a win is a win, and it was a big win yesterday. Yes, that was good. That was so sweet in so many ways, and we will discuss that, of course. The Heat, we talked about it yesterday. The season was going to end. I even told Ira. Ira is like on Sunday. He's like, well, Monday at usual time. I'm like, no, dude, we're not doing Monday. Season ends on Monday. Let's do Tuesday or Wednesday. So they're going to have their exit meetings on Wednesday. So Ira will join us today to talk about whatever the Heat is right now, which, you know, as I told you, they're really in a screwed up place. They have nothing to improve. They're stuck. You know, again, I don't need to sell you bullshit. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to tell you, oh, this whale or that. Nobody really wants to come here, dude. And there's nothing here. And they have no picks, nothing. They're done. Okay? So they will be in a rut for the next couple of years before they get out of this whole thing of picks that they get skipped on. And, you know, they're going to be, they got a great coach. So the great coach won't allow you to be terrible, and you're never going to be really good. Not with this group, you know. And finally, I think most of you have realized that Tyler and Bam are not stars. They're just not stars. Okay. Bam is a super role player, not a star. Okay. Look how small those guys got. You know what I'm saying? So we'll talk to Ira about it at the bottom of the hour. He'll join us, and then we'll talk to David Feronis at 11 o'clock. Last night reminded me of the old Panthers. I'm not talking about like in the expansion years, okay? No. I'm talking about the ones just a few years ago. You know, the ones that used to have Vinny Trocheck get his ass beat and nobody would do anything and just, you know, play the game and all that. Do you guys remember those Panthers? You remember the meow, 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 meow. You remember those Panthers that we made fun of here a few years back? You guys remember that? That I would get pissed. I would be livid that they'd be taking shots at our guys and we didn't do a goddamn thing about it. Okay? And you know what? Listen, if you're part of Wussyville, get the hell off my channel. Okay? Get the fuck off my channel, please. Okay? What Ekblad did yesterday, last night, had to be done. And some of you people on social media, listen, I don't know what soft-ass world you grew up in, but I'm more from the Untouchables world, you know, where Sean Connery says, you put one of ours in a hospital, we put two of yours in the morgue. And that's exactly what happened last night. I get this shit on social media because I'm celebrating it. Oh, that's a dirty play. Oh, you're celebrating thuggery. No, fuck you, bro. Okay? You went out, Hagel, and you took a dirty-ass shot at our best player, do you think we're just going to stand around and like the old Panthers and let you just take shots at our guys and we're going to do nothing about it? Well, that piece of shit Hagel just found out that the next time he wants to take a shot, he's going to think twice about it, because the Panthers are not going to stand around and allow you to take cheap shots. So if you don't want a forearm shiver right to your neck, asshole, then don't take shots at Barkov. Okay? So any of you Lightning fans that I saw they were a little bent out of shape, listen, little bitches, it's hockey. You want to take a dirty shot at somebody? Well, then it's coming for you. Okay? Ekblad deserves a goddamn statue now outside the arena. And a statue with a forearm in it. That was awesome. That's what you need to send that message, not just to the Lightning, but to anybody else out there. If you're going to take a dirty shot, just watch out. You will get hageled. I had some wuss on there from Tampa, obviously. Oh, you're celebrating a dirty hit. Enjoy the 2 goals. At the end of the game, I said, enjoy the ass kicking and the 4 goals. I had Hateful Steve. That you shouldn't have taken that cheap shot. You're now down and you're worried, because he panics at every little thing that goes on. I'm like, yo, dude, this is big boy hockey. They know what they have to do. And that's the beauty of this. This isn't the soft-ass Heat, bro. This isn't the wussy-ass Miami Dolphins for the last 40 years. You punch the Dolphins in the mouth, and, dude, they are the biggest freaking wusses in the goddamn world. There's nothing weaker than the Miami Dolphins over the last 40 years, bro. It doesn't matter if you were Marino teams or the current teams. They're all wussies. They're all soft. They get punched in the mouth, and that's it, bro. It's over. That's who the Dolphins have been for 40 years. That's who the Panthers used to be just a few years ago. The Heat, did you watch them last night? That's the most un-Riley-like team I have ever seen in my life, dude. The last time the Dolphins had Panther toughness was the 70s. The 70s was the last time the Dolphins had that kind of toughness as a team. Not individuals or one unit or one part of the unit or whatever. That's always been the Dolphins. Yeah, there's always a tough guy or two here or there. Maybe there's a part of your unit that's tough, but overall the team, always soft. Always soft. And the Miami Heat, dude, under Pat Riley, this bunch here, this is the most pathetic and soft bunch I have ever seen in my life. So when I watch Ekblad last night, I celebrate toughness. I celebrate pride. I celebrate respect, because that forearm in the damn neck is respect. Hey, asshole, you're not getting away with that shit. That's what that was. Okay? I don't come from the world of turn the other cheek or try to be better or any of that shit. If you're dirty, you deserve dirty. Dirtier. That's where I come from. Okay? Sorry. You don't like it? Don't tune in. Don't follow. Don't subscribe. I don't give a shit. That's the way I run my life. That's the way I want my teams to be. And that's the reason why the Miami Heat, the way they're currently designed, will go nowhere, because they got no balls and no guts. The Miami Dolphins haven't had balls and guts for 40 years, dude. 40 years. It's the same thing, just the faces change and all that. You can punch them anytime, and they're going to go right to the ground, and they're going to fold at every second. And the Heat have now become the Dolphins. The most un-Riley-like team. I've never seen a softer-ass team. It's like night and day watching that shit last night. Night and day. The scrubs, the 31-10 scrubs, had way more heart than these fools. These are a bunch of nice kids that you want to take home and introduce to your daughter and marry and go have kids and be nice people and good citizens. This is sports, bro. I'm sorry. This is sports where you got to have an edge. The Panthers have every edge that comes from that claw. Okay? They have every edge that you want out there. They got grit, they got toughness, they have got resilience, they are fearless, they are intimidating, they are relentless, they impose their will. That's what, the 70s Dolphins used to do, offensively, defensively, impose their will. Big three. But with the second year and on, once they got Battier and some of the other guys, they could impose their will offensively and defensively. Remember? Then they would take their coasting moments, but then they could press and they could just force turnovers and things like that. The Zoe and Timmy teams. Unfortunately, we were in the Michael years, so we got screwed with the Cavs and the Knicks and the Jazz and I don't know. I'm missing a couple of other teams there, but a bunch of us in the it wasn't that they weren't tough and gritty. Those Zoe teams were super tough and super gritty. It's just, we had the super team in the middle of the way. So it screwed a whole bunch of teams at that time. Pacers were another one. Just, it just, you got to have this. And that moment, it's funny how I see how newer or younger generations react to that moment. And then I see people that are around my generation, slightly younger, maybe a little older, how they react to it. My wife had no problem with it. None whatsoever. None. Same world. She goes, that's the idiot that took a shot at Barkov. And I go, yeah. And he goes, good. That's what she said. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. If he gets suspended, you overcome that. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Hey, Sean, you wanna help me out here? Did Ekblad play in the first two games? I'm just wondering. Did he play?
No, he did not.
Oh. I love these people. Oh, but now he's going to get suspended. Hey, idiot. He missed the first two games. They took a 2-0 lead. Guess what? He's an injury-prone guy. He gets to rest this game, and they'll finish him out on Wednesday, and he'll have even more time to relax. And a guy like, what did I say on the suspension? Do you guys remember what I said in the suspension initially? I said, good. Yeah. I said, good. I love it. I love Ekblad's 20-game suspension. And people are like, what the hell are you talking about? I go, bro, this guy gets injured all the time. He's a fantastic player, but he gets injured all the time. We don't need him for the last 20 games. Did we need him? No. Now he's fresh and no injuries. So he's going to miss the next game, maybe? Probably. I don't give a shit. Can you beat the Tampa Bay Lightning without Aaron Ekblad? Yeah. At home. On the road. You went to Tampa without Aaron Ekblad and handed them 2 losses. So what am I supposed to be concerned? I get concerned that the Dolphins can't get a first down. I'm already, the season's already done for me, as you all know. We'll watch it and we'll go through it and all that, but they're not going anywhere, not with that coach. I told you already yesterday what I expect now. The plan now is that Weaver will take over at one point, and that's why that pick was moved over, and that's the plan behind the scenes. Owner and front office and all of that, they're like, all right, we'll give Mike another chance. If he's not, boom, bow, and we put the guy that we want in there anyways. Weaver's going to get a job somewhere. Let's give it to him right now. And this fool, we're going to screw it up, but we just gave him a new contract, so let's give him a shot to, earn that contract. If he doesn't get it done, we get rid of him. Boom, move on. So I see what's going on there. But I know that the season's done. I don't care about the Marlins. They don't even exist. They're never going to get anywhere. This is the team right here. The Heat, they're stuck. I don't know if Ira will come on and be honest enough at the bottom of the hour and say, yeah, no, the Heat are pretty much screwed over the next couple of years because of the lack of picks, because of the lack of space, because they've got committed to really bad salaries, because nobody really wants their players. And as I told you yesterday, Hero, and I told you this before even last night, Hero killed his value. Now they're not even going to want him in the offseason anymore. Now, everything that we thought he was going to try to build up, because he shit the bed constantly in key moments, because they tell you that he's Mr. Clutch. I love that when I hear from people that either cover the Heat or around the Heat organization, and they sell you this bullshit about Tyler Hero, and I'm like, come on, bro. So last night, what the Panthers are is everything you want your sports team to be. They're likable, they're tough, they're resilient, they win, they give a shit, they play hard from beginning to end, they leave everything on the ice. It is the most beautiful thing to see Florida Panthers hockey. Heat basketball used to be that way. They used to have real stars, and they used to produce and all that. They don't do that. The Dolphins have never been this since the 70s. They've never had the real stars and toughness and all that on both sides of the ball since the 70s. The Marlins had it for, I would say, the moment of 97 was the team that was like experienced and tough and all that. The 03 team was kind of like a lightning in the bottle moment because we never really got to see them grow. The 97 team was grown-ass men who you knew who they were already. You know what I mean? It was like, whoa, it was a force. I wish we would have brought that team back. God, I wish. I don't know if, 03, I don't even know if they repeat. I have no idea if they repeat. 97, I guarantee you 97 has a chance to repeat. A huge chance to repeat. That was an intimidating, confident. I covered that team. I covered both of those teams. And when I've been around teams that know what the hell they're doing or they lack it, and I can see it. And when I see the Panthers embrace the hell out of this, ladies and gentlemen, embrace it, enjoy it. We had the Dolphins for a moment, and it's 50 years later. We had the Heat for a moment, and it's already 10 years later and counting. And they're going nowhere. And they're not anywhere, any kind of resemblance of what they were during the Big Three. So we've had these kind of moments. Canes football, and that stretch in the 80s right into the 90s when they won the 4 titles. The 5th title was won in 01. It was kind of separated from those. But the 4 titles is the same thing as what happened with the Dolphins in a short amount of time. It's the same thing that happened with the Miami Heat in a short amount of time. We are now in the Panthers. Take it from somebody that has lived all of this, has experienced all of this. Okay? Do not overlook this. Embrace it. Enjoy every moment. These people have gone to 2 straight cups. They've been to the playoffs 6 straight years now. They got an opportunity to make it to 3 straight cups. They got a shot at even winning it. Embrace the shit out of this. We don't know when we're going to have it again. We never had it again for the Dolphins. We never had it again for the Miami Dolphins. The teams from the 70s, we never had it ever again. Every other rendition of it has been an incomplete version of something. They didn't have a quarterback. They didn't have an offense. They didn't have a defense. They didn't have a running game. They didn't have a coach. They didn't have a front off. Totally incomplete. Okay? Whatever it is, they were missing ingredients. That's all I'm telling you. Okay? What you saw last night was super special. They go down 2-1 right away with those 2 quick goals after the Ekblad hit. That could break any team. Not this one. Not this one. No. They fought, and it's not like they answered right away. It took a bit. It took to the point where the pressure cooker started building up and the time was running out. And the sands of the hourglass were done. And they had to respond. So they did. Embrace, love, cherish. I don't know when this will happen again. And last time I checked, it only happens once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime, I lived the Dolphins and I was a child. Once in a lifetime with the Canes, and I was a teenager into my 20s. Once in a lifetime with the Miami Heat as I was a grown-ass man. And now, once with the Panthers as I'm an older man. This shit does not last. This shit does not repeat. Appreciate, embrace the moment. That was beautiful last night. That was beautiful in every way possible. All the way down to the fact that Ekblad and Barkov came in together, part of the Dale Talon regime. The only thing that's left from that Dale Talon regime. I know that the goalie is also part of the Dale Talon regime because they signed them as a free agent. But these 2 guys came in as draft picks. They grew up together. And Ekblad that's another thing that I have to appreciate immensely about Ekblad. These 2 guys have been through it, bro. They were part of the team when they were shit, when they were soft, when they would take all the crap. And now that they're here to deliver it, they're not here to take any more shit from anybody. And he saw his buddy get leveled into the wall, and you knew it, and I knew it. At one point or another, payback was coming, and payback's a bitch, Hagel. So I'm glad they rocked your effing world, bro. And I have no sympathies. I don't feel bad about it whatsoever. You take a cheap shot, you get what you deserve, dude. That's just it. Look, man, we live in a world where we're constantly allowing criminals to get out of jail. They can commit crimes over and over and over. In California, you can steal $1,000 and, oh, no, it's a slap on the, what the hell is that? This is the world we live in now. It's a world where there are no consequences a lot of times for your irresponsible actions. Well, in hockey, it is policed a little different. And I'm glad that Aaron Ekblad said, I need to put on the badge and I need to be judge and jury. And here we go, forearm shiver. And that forearm shiver means a lot more than what you think. It's not just a dirty hit. It's brotherhood. It's a bond. It's that you're defending your house. You're defending your people. And you will not be the team because Aaron Ekblad and Barkov have been around watching the Panther teams that used to just take shit. And that's where I started this diatribe. And the Panthers no longer take shit. They dish it out, bro. So Now, Hagel, the Lightning, and the NHL have been warned. You take a cheap shot, you are going to pay the price. Panthers, super proud of you, bro. Super proud, and I will continue to embrace this moment, and I will continue to be as confident as ever because I've seen this before throughout my lifetime. I know what the big three look like. I know what the Canes look like. I know what the Dolphins look like. I know what these Panthers are. I'm all in. Don't forget, folks, you can make a donation to the show, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. And you can make a Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, or Solana donation because Venmo has opened it up a little bit more, which we appreciate that because I am actually invested in all of those. Peter Gunn, thank you for the love on Venmo, sir. He says, man of 1,005 holds. I got you. Glad to see what superstars look like in the Panthers compared to wannabe stars in the Heat. Love the physicality of the playoffs, playoff hockey. Go Panthers. Amen. A freaking men. Watching the Heat is an embarrassment. And Riley right now should be embarrassed because he has done an absolutely horrible job. Horrible job. And he's got to get better and fix this shit. He has created a soft-ass culture, a soft-ass program. You got a great coach, but you're not giving him anything to work with, unfortunately. So what are you going to do? You know? What matters? Thank you for the love on the super chat. This has been the Heat's worst loss since Dan Marino's last game at Jacksonville. It's time for the Heat to clean house. And do what, bro? And do what? Clean house what? Salaries are guaranteed. And clean house what? Who wants Tyler Hero? What are you going to get for Tyler Hero now? So there's really not much. There's really not much to give up, and I'm not giving up on Jovic or Ware. I already gave up on Tyler Hero years ago. Not some of you out there, but I would have traded him before the deadline. But okay, they hung on to him, and I told you, okay, let's hope that he finishes the season healthy. And guess what? He finished it healthy, but he also choked out and he made himself look like the fraud that he is. So he hurt his value. By continuing to play him, you hurt his value. So what matters? In basketball, it's not that easy to just clean house because you don't have the cap space. Those salaries are committed. And again, what matters? What matters is nobody's lining up to come here. Nobody gives a shit about coming to Miami anymore. That's passé. And that's a problem with our Heat Nation. There's way too many of you that are delusional. And I've been trying to walk you off that ledge for a couple of years now. But, what am I going to do? U.S. jobs in March tumbled. Lowest mark since 2020. All right. Anyway, I know where we're headed there too. So what matters, it's just not as easy as, we'll clean house. As Joe Budden said, before you send your shots, be sure to check my return policy. Lightning didn't check. I like that. Is Joe Budden like is that like a wrestler or something, or where is that from, a movie, or where am I missing that? Where's the Joe Budden thing? I love the line.
I do not know. He's not a wrestler.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll take your word for that. I have no idea, but love the line. That was fantastic. That's fantastic. So appreciate it, man. I was a kid and lived the Dolphins, and that's once. I was a young man and lived the Canes. Just once. I was a grown man and lived the heat, and that's just once. And now the Panthers, I'm an older man, and my experience, this is once in your lifetime. It doesn't continue. You don't continue to win the championship. So whatever this team does this year and for the next couple of years, embrace the hell out of it, bro. Because last night was like the exclamation point of what a real team is from top to bottom. From emotion and connection and toughness and clutchness and everything, coaching, front office, everything. They have it going on right now. They've got the synergy in every way, shape, and form that I've seen from the aforementioned teams. None of them have that magic now. They got it, bro. So what you watched last night and what you're watching, embrace the shit out of it, bro. Embrace it. All right, let's go. Ira Winderman is ready to go. He's locked and loaded to talk about the depressing Miami Heat in our Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA reports.
Heat fans, time for the best insight of your favorite team with insider Ira Winderman, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report. Here's Ira Winderman.
Ira. Wow. The end of a long season, painful season, the painful realities. That was not
good.
That was really ugly last night, man. I mean, it's been ugly for a while. It's not like I wasn't expecting it last night. I wasn't expecting a 15-point loss. I was hoping it would be like a
competitive
loss. Exactly. Perfectly put. That's what I was hoping for. Like, all right, the kids fought, they tried, but man, these people are way better, bro. You know, what do you expect? But last night was just, they were gutted, bro. They were just absolutely gutted.
You know, it's interesting. When we spoke in our Accurate Pembroke Pines report for the last month, we spoke about what would be acceptable. And you and I, before the play-in round, said, you know what? If they win these two games and they get to the playoffs, they'll have made a statement that they're still viable, that they're still competitive, that they still had a playoff season. And they won in Chicago. And they won in Atlanta. And when you and I came on and previewed the playoffs, we said, just be competitive against the Cavaliers. Just show that you belong in this elite group of 16 NBA playoff teams. And for the first two games in Cleveland, they actually were competitive. Game 2, last minute, we're right there with them. This could not have ended worse. This could not have left a worse taste in the offseason than if they didn't make the playoffs, than if they sank even lower than they did. I don't know how you wash away this type of taste. I don't know what Eric Spoelstra can say tomorrow when the players clean out their lockers. I don't know what Pat Riley can say afterwards whenever he addresses the media. This is when actions have to speak. This is when, because of what happened in games 3 and 4 against Cleveland, we are doing X, Y, and Z. They cannot come back and say, with a full training camp with this team, once we get it all together, once we move past Jimmy, once we acclimate Andrew, it'll be different. It will not. The Cavaliers are great. The Boston Celtics are excellent. The New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons are on the come as teams that are rising in the East. Orlando is shown against Boston. Give it 1 or 2 more players, they will be right there. Indiana stocked its roster perfectly when they made the Pascal Siakam move, when they located Andrew Nembhard as a gem in the draft, and they've positioned themselves also. Right now, I don't see a better outlook for the Heat than another play-in season.
And by the way, Ira, Bam, Wiggins, and Tyler are who they are. And that's what I think most everybody out there needs to realize this. Stop expecting a star from any of these people. This is why Wiggins has been moved all over. Everybody knows he has talent, but he never really puts it together. Tyler, sure, he can shoot, but he's not. He doesn't have that edge that you need. And look, when push comes to shove, he gets pushed. Bam God bless him. He's terrific as a supporting player, but if you put him anywhere near a front line, ask you to bail us out type of play, that's not who he is, and that's not who he ever is going to be. And that's really the crutch of this whole thing. You're tied to three guys that everybody knows what their DNA is. Yeah, they have some skill, but they're not really stars.
You have a 2, 3, and 4 in a league where you need a 1, and you need the 1 to be the 1.
I don't even know if they're twos.
I think Tyler's a 2, and I think
Tyler has no balls. He cannot be a 2.
Totally wrong. Sorry, Big O. Wrong for this reason.
Tim Hardaway is a 2. Tyler Hero can't hold Tim Hardaway's jock, dude.
Offensively, he can.
Offensively,
Tyler Hero is a far better player than Tim Hardaway. He just is. Offensively, he is. But if you don't have someone to play off of,
I don't care about the skill sets. I only care about the basketball player.
He's a better scorer.
The basketball player is Tim Hardaway, not Tyler Hero. Tim Hardaway will be tough in tough moments. Tim Hardaway never played defense, but you know what he did for Pat Riley in here? He got in the passing lanes and stole his balls here and there and left and right, and he kind of helped out a little bit.
Tyler does that also.
As a point guard, we talk about big shots. Yeah, you guys brag about Tyler, please, dude. Tim Hardaway hit some big shots.
Tim Hardaway played over Alonzo Mourning. Tim Hardaway played off of some great players. To me, that's the difference.
Yeah, I know, I get it, but Tim Hardaway proved in a lot of moments that he was a tough cat. I don't see that in these guys. I just don't see that edge. They don't have it.
I just disagree because Bam is not enough of a scorer. Tyler is out there alone trying to do it himself. I do not think the Heat have done right by the players they're trying to cast as elite players. And what they did when they sold off an alpha, which they had to with Jimmy Butler, you and I both agree with that on our accurate Pembroke Pines reports, instead of bringing in a number 2 or a number 1 or a number 3, they brought in look, Andrew Wiggins is a number 4, but he played with the Heat like a number 7. That was the problem. I mean, honestly, let's look at this Cavaliers series. Let's look at the greatness of the Cavs. Let's look at what they have in Donovan Mitchell, even though he didn't play 2 games, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, DeAndre Hunter. So here's the difference right now. Andrew Wiggins couldn't outplay Max Strus, who is a 7th man for the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's the difference. And I just don't know what the deal with Andrew Wiggins was.
For example, Davion Mitchell showed me way more than Tyler Hero. Way more. And he wasn't playing. He's playing off of the same guys on the court. Same guys. But he came in clutch. He played tough. He played fearless. I need to find more Davion Mitchells, but obviously a little bit more talented. But see, I respect Davion Mitchell, the character, the toughness over Tyler Hero.
Not nearly a third of the player that Tyler is. And you get caught up in expectations. You know what? It's like grading on a curve. So you can sit down and you can say
Tyler's a better talent, but in a tough moment, who do you want? Davion Mitchell or do you want Tyler Hero?
Tyler Hero 1,000 times over.
No. I don't want Tyler Hero at all in a tough moment. Give me Davion Mitchell. He's got.
I guess you're forgetting the 2 play-in games. I guess you're forgetting the games the Heat needed to win to get there. Look, Cleveland is an elite A-level defense on what they did, and when you can focus on one player and not have to worry about anyone else, that's what you get. The Cavaliers couldn't have given a rat's ass what Davion Mitchell did if he got 18 or 20 or 32 or 60. They knew the head of the snake was Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero struggled for one reason above any other. He had the full, complete respect of the Cleveland Cavaliers as the only player on the Miami Heat that could beat him. That's the level he had risen to.
Well, he's not an all-star then. You got to find a way to make plays and make plays off of you, and that's what stars do. That's why we cannot pencil him in as a 1 or a 2 because 1 or 2s will find ways to be impactful either way, and he went into a shell. That's my problem with Tyler.
I don't know if an elite player or an all-star or a star on a crap-tastic roster and rotation could only go so far. We have seen players move to other teams and to step up. He could have chucked. He could have LaMelo balled. He could have Trae Young. He tried to work within the offense and what was given to him. He wasn't surrounded by anything.
Didn't Mitch Richmond like shine every year in Sacramento, and he was playing with a shitty team, and Chris Bosh was taking Toronto
Mitch Richmond in the playoffs. I don't remember that at all.
Or at least close to it. But he was a damn good player with the Kings. That once in a while they would be there.
Let's not forget Tyler in the 2 playing games.
Bosh did the same thing on a shitty Toronto team. He was balling at least. If you're a good player, even on a bad team, you should stand out. I've seen that many, many times where guys that are good players, they're on a bad team, but you know that when Ray Allen was on Milwaukee and they were shitty, Ray Allen was balling. He was balling every time. I'm sorry. I just don't see. I don't see a dog.
I think that's recency. If you and I were to scroll back 1 week and look at what Tyler did against Chicago and against Atlanta, granted, not teams with winning records, but in huge clutch moments, including the 2 threes in overtime against Atlanta, there's a lot of recency bias here. You know what? Jimmy Butler wanted out.
That's like the Dolphins. They play great against shitty teams, and then when they play against real teams, they fold like a tent. And that's exactly it. Tyler played well against shitty teams. Then when you played against teams that actually can play some ball and play some defense, El Foldo. I mean, come on, man.
El Foldo scored 21 in the first game, 33 in the second, and then Cleveland sold out because they realized he was the only player as a star player that could beat them.
You got to keep doing it. Okay, so where are they? Like, some guy said, oh, you got to blow it up. Well, they're stuck with salaries. The whole thing of me wanting to trade Tyler, I think Tyler now killed his value now, actually. Instead of building it up, this whole thing actually ended up killing his value, and you're not going to be able to ask for much, even if you do want to move him, because people aren't going to offer much for him overall. Plus, if he wants to ask for a max deal, that has to be like no freaking way if you're the Miami Heat. You're not going to part ways with Ware or Jovic, who actually played well yesterday. Larson. You got some young guys that you can build on, but you're kind of like stuck in the middle right now. You don't really have the ammunition. You're not going to have the ammunition over the next couple of years, and you're stuck with some salaries and unsexy players. How did the Heat even get better?
It takes time, and you have to. You know what? One word more than anything.
Okay, so 5 years from now, when the window will start.
Okay, and what was Cleveland? 22 wins, 19 wins, 20 wins. The result, Isaac Okoro. The result, Evan Mobley. The result, Darius Garland.
They don't do that. You have Eric Spoelstra. He's going to keep you right in the playoffs or right outside of it. And that means you will not be in the lottery. And that means you will not get enough ping pong balls to win and try to get one of those guys in the first 2 or 3, 5 picks. So you're stuck in the middle like the Dolphins, that you're good enough to beat the crappy teams, but you're not good enough to be really in the playoffs. What do you do, Ira?
You get better from within, you develop, and you accept that it's going to take time because the competition has passed you. You know what? You can't recover from a bad move in a day or an hour, whether it's a Terry Rozier contract, whether it's a Tyreek Hill contract. You have to learn in salary cap worlds. You have to endure. If you're asking me, yes. So if you're asking me, are the Heat going to turn it around next year? No, they're not. And their upside, what's the upside for the Miami Heat next year? The play-in. That's their ultimate upside. But you can build from within and add a few more pieces, and hopefully someone is attracted enough or desperate enough. Again, in the Sun Sentinel on Sunday, I listed a bunch of players. There has never been more of an offseason for damaged goods than this summer. Whether it's Zion Williamson, whether it's John Morant, whether it's Trae Young, whether it's Kevin Durant, there will be names and players out there. Does one turn it around? Hey, you can make an argument for that. You have to be prudent. You probably don't have to give a lot for Zion Williamson.
Not one of those guys will make you a contender with the group you have, and any of those guys, not one of them makes you contender in the East.
See, I think Kevin Durant would very short term. I think Bam and Durant and Tyler and a couple of supporting pieces could at least get you to 6 in the East, get you out of that danger zone, out of Boston, out of Cleveland, out of competitive. Again, Big O, it's what do you want? If it's championship or bust, Pat Riley ruined it for all of us, then I agree. You've got to step back into the weeds for a while.
Yeah,
if it's getting back in the thick of the competition because the Heat will not tolerate that, then you know what? You sell out 2 first-round picks. You give them Khalil Ware. You give them Wiggins' salary. You give them Jovic, and you get Durant. Would I make that move? No, I think that's too much for the short term. But I got to tell you this. If you make that move, and Tyler Hero and Kevin Durant and Bam Adebayo are on the court for the Heat next season, yeah, they will be at least 500. They will be contending for that 5 or 6. You'll get in the first round, maybe against a fallen Milwaukee, against a marginal Indiana, and you can be competitive again. So it's what you want. You have to decide what your goals are and what your timetable is. And you know what? The one word I use again, are they willing to have patience?
What do you think is really the best move long-term for him? Because for me, it's, yeah, you guys need to be like bad. You need to go with complete youth and try to, unfortunately, it's not tanking, but you're not going to be good enough that you'll end up with a lot of ping pong.
Two things have to happen for that ever to become a consideration. Pat Riley has to retire, move on to the next stage of his basketball life. Eric Spoelstra has to move into the front office to replace Pat Riley, to bring in a young coach with the patience of not forcing the issue, and then you start a growth project. But as long as Pat Riley's not there, he's not going to sit down with us at the end of this week and saying, when I'm 85, we're going to be back. As long as Eric Spoelstra's there, he's not going to be saying, after a couple of lottery seasons, we're going to be back. So this is not something that starts with personnel. This is not something that starts with trades or drafts. This is something that starts at the very foundation of where this team stands right now. And that's simply a matter of, are they willing organizationally to take a step back? And Big O, like you criticized, this team hasn't and doesn't do that. Often to the consternation of making a Goran Dragic trade after the big 3, saying just good enough not to be bad enough, and get those picks in that same time frame that Cleveland got, because that's who they are. So you know what? The Durant trade would be the Dragic trade. It would be just staying competitive, getting those nominal playoff berths like they did with Goran. But you know what? As long as Pat Riley is president, as long as Eric Spoelstra is coaching, they're not going to settle for just being mediocre, for not trying to be better. So I think an organization, you know where it has to start, Big O?
A young star, Ira. That's what they really.
It has to start with the Harrisons, and it has to start with Mickey Harrison saying, "We've heard this all the time." Matter of fact, we've heard this with Stephen Ross also. Here's my 5-year plan. I know fans hate 5-year plans, but that's what it has to be. And I also know the Miami Heat hate 5-year plans.
Yeah, I mean, just it's sad, man. Sad. What are you expecting tomorrow from the interviews?
Oh, you don't get unshell shocked within 48 minutes. So I think there's a lot to digest right there. But I need to know, does Andrew Wiggins want to be here? Did he find a fit? Does this regimented system work for him? If not, you've got to go make a move. Is Tyler Hero going to accept if he doesn't get his extension right away, like Jimmy didn't get it right away? Is he going to be willing to wait? Maybe till next summer, maybe the summer after, so they can make moves around that. So there's a lot of decisions that those players we talk to tomorrow, Davion Mitchell, is he going to accept a nominal contract, a reasonable contract, or is he going to say starting price at least 3 years, $36 million? And you know what, Big O? Just like they didn't bend for Vincent and Strus and Caleb Martin, and perhaps rightly so, you can't tie up money in the middle when you need money at the top. So there are a lot of decisions that players will make. We know Duncan Robinson is not opting out of his $19 million, but you know what? They can waive him and save $10 million. And I think that's something that's going to happen also, because I don't know what the hell happened to Duncan Robinson this season. But we saw yesterday the faith was even lost by Eric Spoelstra when he didn't play him until the Heat were down by 50. So, yeah, there's a lot of player issues that factor into it. It's never just one-sided. What players decide to do will also factor into what the Heat can or cannot do. So we have to hear that as well.
What's left in Tyler Hero's contract? How many
Tyler
years?
Hero has 2 years left. That's locked in no matter what, and that can be extended. It's to his benefit.
I would have no interest in extending him. If I cannot move him, I would allow Tyler Hero's contract to expire and say, kid, have a fantastic career.
It won't expire. The way extensions work, if you don't extend him, his window opens October. You can revisit it this summer. Matter of fact, a year from this summer and a year from next summer. By then, you'll know if it's not going to work. You'll trade and get some value right there. So it's the question of, here's the difference. If Tyler Hero doesn't get an extension, he's not going to turn into a whiny bitch like another player we know who forced his way out. I don't see.
My point is, there is no extension. The Miami Heat, okay, cannot give him an extension, cannot give him a raise, cannot give him anything. He's not good enough. When the 2 years are done, you need to part ways and say bye-bye, see you later. We need your cap space. We don't need you. You're not good enough to get us to another banner.
Except the extension right now would be no more than 30% of the cap because of the exorbitant way the cap is rising. So you might say Tyler is not an A-list star. Okay, Big O, I'll agree. You might say Tyler's not a B-list star. Okay, I'll agree. Big O, this is so hard even for us to wrap our heads around. Do you know that a number 4 or 5 player on an NBA team in 3 years is going to be earning $50 million? Not a good player, a Duncan Robinson and a Terry Rozier. What I'm telling you is there is a way to still, no matter what you think of Tyler Hero, to make an extension work that he is paid commensurate with what Orlando Alzagari actually believes. This is something Bobby Marks and other people who are NBA people outside and inside will tell you. Don't get caught up in the actual number. Get caught up in the percentage of the cap and then ask yourself.
My point is, when you're an unsexy team now, which that's what Miami is, nobody's lining up to come here. Nobody's dying to come here. And, come on. The proof is in the pudding year after year. For the last 10 years, everybody writes about it and they don't get anybody. And
those are trades that they couldn't control. There is no free agency.
They only got Butler because of Wade. You're not sexy anymore. So you know what? Have the cap space. That way, if anybody does become available, you have the cap space to absorb them right away and sign them straight up in an off season or something.
That just doesn't happen. Everyone extends or is traded ahead of the expiration. Free agency, as we knew it, is dead in the NBA.
Or something like that, instead of you tying yourself up to mediocre salaries.
Let's not go to mediocre. Let's not go to mediocre and Tyler Hero right now, Big O. Let's have some perspective of an all-star season of a guy who won you 2 play-in games and who again, it's all about a
you're like the Dolphin fans that have beaten down the last 20, 30 years with lower expectations. You have lowered your expectations for Heat talent.
I haven't. I'm saying if Tyler Hero is paid as my 4th or 5th best player, I have no issue whatsoever.
Okay, fine. When I get my first 3, then I'll worry about paying Tyler Hero. But for now, I'm not going to use a chunk of my salary to pay for a guy that
you don't have to. You have 2 years to wait.
That's my point. That's my point. I've already seen enough. I don't need to see any more from Tyler Hero. After the 2 years are done, take it easy, bro. Just
let's see how the 2 years play out.
You're still hanging in there, thinking that anything's going to change with him.
I've seen Tyler Hero grow exponentially in the past 2 years.
All right, how was Pat Riley yesterday watching Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, I mean, and then Jimmy after the game to say his joy is back. Look, he got put into a position by a player who bent every rules and was allowed to get away with it, and you just can't win in that situation. So he got punked by a punk, and you just move on. He had no plan B. There was no other option. By the time, as you pointed out, he let it get to February. There was nothing palatable at that point. Probably wouldn't have been at the start of the season. So, yeah, they got butlered. So did the Timberwolves. So did the Sixers. So did the Bulls. You knew the toxic player you were dealing with, and you decided that 4 years of that player was worth it. And that was a hell of a 4-year run. Now you watch him go do it somewhere else. Let's see when it goes south in Golden State, how that turns out there.
Yeah, let's hope he gets Hagel there in Golden State. All right, what are you working on there in the South Florida Sun Sentinels?
You know, I put up my season and postseason grades for all 18 players on the Heat season-ending roster, so you can go to sunsentinel.com, see if you agree or disagree. Like you mentioned, Big O, I had a higher grade for Tyler Hero during the regular season than during the postseason correctly. I thought some other players played as who they were. I thought there were a few surprises, but there was work to be done, and that's how I started that story. That you can talk about what's next in off seasons. A lot has to be next for this team this off season. I think our accurate Pembroke Pines reports will be jammed with possibilities from the Heat because they know after those 2 games against the Cavaliers, you can't come back the same. That would be a slap in the face to your fan base.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat, and of course, subscribe to the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, as always, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great week.
We'll argue again next week and all summer on our accurate Pembroke Pines reports. Thanks, Big O.
Yes, we will. Thank you, Ira. Appreciate it. And, of course, you can get electrified. The ZDX is there. And, by the way, they have 2024 models. They got some great deals. And you want to take advantage of these deals because the 2025 models, they're going to be a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Tariffs. So right now, $439 a month is the lease feature. You can get 0% financing for 72 months, over 300 miles to the full charge. And the charger is really cool because there's a portable charger. You can take it home with you. It's awesome, man. The ADX, right now, brand new sedan that they've got there in the Acura line, $359 a month. Check it out. The Integra 2025 model, 3.9% financing for 60 months, $339 a month. The RDX, my wife drives it every single day, $399 a month. That thing is a tank. Okay. My wife has beaten hers up since 2010. 15 years. So if you're looking for something great and reliable, the RDX is a tank. $399 a month right now. Special financing rate. The MDX Tech, that thing is a spaceship. You can get $10,000 off the MSRP. Tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you, baby, at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
You've been listening to the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA Report with Ira Winderman. When you're looking for award-winning service and great deals from the #1 volume Acura sales dealership in the Southeast United States, you go to Craig Zinn Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
If there's one characteristic of most beat writers, they got to sell hope. So I love Ira, but he's still trying to sell hope. He doesn't believe it deep down inside. I usually break him as time goes on. Bam, Tyler, whoever. It doesn't matter what it is. He usually comes to my side as time goes on, and then the obvious becomes so obvious that everybody cannot deny it. You know, like trading Tyler. We all know that I was right, or trading Butler a couple of years ago. But, you know, I get it. You got to sell hope. But there is no hope for the Miami Heat. I'm sorry. Doesn't mean I'm not going to watch. Doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about it. You know, and again, if you're the fan that needs to be told positive shit in order to be inspired to watch, yeah, man, this is not the show for you, bro. I'll tell you positive shit when there's positive shit like the Panthers. But the Miami Heat are going nowhere for a few years now. They don't have picks. They don't have flexibility. And they don't have players that people want. How do you get better? And then he says from within. And I love him, but he's just selling, hopium. And I don't do the hopium, bro. I do reality. You know, I live in reality. But again, it's like any beat writer, they all write about one thing. So they've got to craft it in a certain way. You know, he can't come out writing, well, got to tell you, Heat fans, the future doesn't look good for the Heat over the next 3 years. They're not going to be able to have a lot of flexibility. They don't have players that anybody wants. They're tied to these salaries. It's a whole thing. Like, why would I want more of Tyler Hero? I've seen enough of him for 2 years, for 5 years or whatever it is. Yes, sir.
Inter Messi has made a trade again.
What did Inter Messi do now?
Julian Gressel to Minnesota.
Okay, yeah. I saw Kaufman put it out that he put out an IG post that he was history. So Julian Gressel sent for what, for $500?
They actually don't say. They just said, "Gracias, Julian. Best of luck in Minnesota."
Okay,
that was what they gave him.
Yeah, he wasn't playing much, but
yeah, no, Inter Messi, baby.
Yeah, Inter Messi. Yeah. They produce so much there at Inter Messi. It's amazing, dude. It's become a money grab for those people. I feel bad for Moss because he's done everything. He's given Messi everything he needs, and he's not producing. Okay, yeah, you get your little exciting moments, and you Argentine fans get to go see Messi, but they haven't won anything. And tomorrow is a big day for them. If they don't beat Vancouver to advance, that's another black eye for that group. If they don't win the MLS Cup, this year, I don't know if they'll win it the following year because they're only going to get older. You know what I'm saying? And how much more does Messi need to win the MLS? I thought the MLS was a shit league and stuff. So to me, this is like, it's turning out to be like disastrous for the winning part. Like you're winning nothing that matters. So it's crazy with the whole Messi situation. All right, let's do it. Hour number 2. We come back and David Feronis gets it started. Let's talk a little Miami Dolphins. Speaking of another team that pretty much has no future, the Miami Dolphins. We'll talk about that in hour number 2 with David Feronis.
Before you buy or lease a Honda, Volkswagen, Hyundai, or any other model, compare Subaru, rated number 1 in safety at Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Buy with 0.9% financing, 0 down. Forester with symmetrical all-wheel drive, $259 a month. Crosstrek with symmetrical all-wheel drive, $239 a month. During the Subaru A Lot to Love event at Subaru of Pembroke Pines, South Florida's #1 volume Subaru retailer.
Hi, this is Jeff Welt from Welton Rayom. Dan and I have been in business together for over 22 years. We're not your typical lawyers. When Dan's not working in the office, he's flying his stunt plane. When I'm not in the office, I'm either getting tattooed, bowling, riding a motorcycle, or going to concerts. We might not be your typical attorneys, but we are aggressive attorneys, and we'll do whatever it takes to get you what you deserve. Consultations are always free. Call us anytime, 24/7.
Welton Rayom can help. The viewpoints, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
All rise, football fans, as the Welton Rayom Miami Dolphins report with David Feronis is in session.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider David Feronis.
All right. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend that is David Feronis. How are you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
I'm feeling good. Got through the biggest part of the offseason, so it's a little more relaxed until we get just these smaller things like rookie mini camp, the schedule release, OTAs eventually, mini camp, and then finally training camp, and it all starts over.
But the good thing is that this useless season that's coming up now, I now believe there's an end game to it. And it's kind of been developed right in front of you here over the last couple weeks here. You want to know what it is?
Tell me.
You want to know what's going to happen. Well, since they traded a 4th rounder for a 3rd rounder in 2026, it's very interesting that you would do that with your asses on the line.
Right.
Or is it just ass on the line? So what I believe now, I'm starting to think this is where my conspiracy theory is going. I'm starting to think that Mike McDaniel wasn't a Chris Grier call, because if Chris Grier's ass is on the line, why? Not that the 4th rounder was going to save your ass anyways, but you did a very selfless thing for a person whose ass is on the line, because normally if your ass is on the line, you're creating cap space from other people. You're trading a pick for next year, this year. You're doing whatever you can to save your ass before you leave. He did none of that. He didn't really go out and seek future money from players, especially Tua. He didn't trade any future picks for right now. In fact, he did the reverse. He traded a pick now, which was an exceptional move, by the way. Excellent move, making the 4th rounder or 3rd rounder. I thought it was fantastic because, again, whoever you drafted wasn't saving your season anyway. So, as I've been telling Dolphin fans that tell me all the time, oh, you got to get rid of this. They can't get rid of anybody. They're tied to it. They weren't going to get rid of Jalen Ramsey if Jalen Ramsey didn't tell them, hey, guys, F you, I want out. They don't want to get rid of Ramsey because they're going to lose $9 million in cap space. They can't get rid of Tyreek. They can't get rid of Tua. They can't get rid of anybody that people want to get rid of because they're tied to salaries. So you're tied to salaries that keep you stuck for the next year or two. You're hoping the Tua one is legit because you're hoping he figures it out, plays well, and then you can justify it. But if he doesn't and continues to do the stupid shit again and gets injured, then the following year, as you know, will probably be his last year because they need at least 2 more years. Okay, you also gave Mike McDaniel a new contract. So you're all sitting there, minus the coaches. I'm talking about front office and ownership. And you're all having a powwow. And you're going, yeah, this Mike McDaniel shit isn't working out. But we all know that we have Weaver in here, and that is a head coach that should be. Okay, we gave Mike a contract. Doesn't look good now. We know players don't want to play for him. We know that the situation. Let's give him an opportunity to sink or swim. If he doesn't sink or swim within the first half year, we move him, we put Weaver in place. That way we get our guy that we want, and we move forward, and we have another pick for next year and everything else. And we've given Mike all the opportunity, and, and he moves on. I think that's the plan. I think that's what's happening because they're stuck with these salaries for 2 years anyway. They already have a fantastic candidate in place as their defensive coordinator that you and I know and everybody else. If you go with your hunch, your gut, and you tell me, who do you want on that sideline? Who do you want in the media room? Who do you want, Weaver or McDaniel? Every one of us is going to take Weaver, okay? So in my conspiracy theory here, I think that's the plan in place, baby, because everything they've done has kind of set them up to have this backup plan in place. So the ball's in your court, young man. What you think?
Now, I even wondered during this draft, would Stephen Ross tell Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel the 2026 picks are untouchable? You can't go into the 2026 capital to move up in this draft. Maybe to maintain the flexibility if he moves off from this duo. Like, I want the next regime to have all his draft picks. But I decided against that little conspiracy theory that I was tempted to think into, because I just don't see Stephen Ross as the owner that would do that. I would see him as the one that lets the football people do the football things and then lets them do it to whatever need they must. And then he just facilitates, tell me what I have to pay. Tell me where I should allot my money to allow you to put the football team together.
Plus, if you're willing to send a pick back next year,
yeah,
you have the power to bring one from next year into this year if you want to too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and again, you had the power to create cap space, and you didn't.
Right.
You could have been a player in free agency if you wanted to. But again, with the last 2 years, here's another caveat for everything.
Okay.
This year would have been another year that you would have been trying to make a run. But because the last 2 years did not work out, you have lost momentum, you've lost players, and you're now not as good as you were the last 2 years. If the last 2 years would have worked out and you would have gotten to the playoffs and won a game or two, this year would have been a year where guys would have taken adjusted pays, pay cuts, whatever, to stay there and keep it going. That's not the sentiment. Everybody wants out. People they don't believe in this guy, all that kind of shit. And they know it up above. They won't say it, but they know it, dude. So to me, there's a lot of this stuff that it looks to me like it's the groundwork. But the part that I'm intrigued with is, who made the decision on McDaniel? Like, how did this really come up? Because it just doesn't seem like it was a straight up, hey, I'm Chris Greer. I got this guy, Mike McDaniel. Let's bring him in. That doesn't seem like it is. Because if you're moving forward, I think without him, you know what I mean? And by the way, that whole thing of you can use or can't use the picks, that conversation would not include Mike McDaniel. That would only include Garfinkel and Chris Greer. Okay.
Right.
So the way they've handled things tells me that there's only one guy on the hot seat, and that's Mike McDaniel. And because they know once you blow it all up, then everybody's a free agent and you'll lose Weaver. Well, if McDaniel screws it up during the season, which is kind of what they're expecting, you can put Weaver in as the interim and boom, you're off and running. And you've got him locked and loaded already, and you give him the team and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just saying, from what I hear with from Ramsey, he has no problem with Weaver or with Greer. His problem is with the head coach. It's not with his defensive coordinator, and it's not with his general manager. So dude, all of this kind of just tells me that this season is kind of like, all right, Mike, here's your final straw, and we're moving on without you, and we got our guy in place in Weaver. So
all right, several things to comment on, and I'm going to try to keep my mind focused on all these as I transition with how many different ways it has gone. So as far as I'm trying to remember when Mike McDaniel was hired, I mean, I feel Chris Greer was certainly involved in that process. At least he made it sound like that whenever he spoke about him. Now, obviously, the whole organization wants to present a unified front in talking about a guy, but I felt like it was a collaborative effort where everyone was involved. So I think Chris Greer was also involved in it. And I think just remember going back to that time, it was, let's pull a 180 from what we just had, I think was the sentiment, was go as far away from what you just had, which was Brian Flores, who was then actively trying to sue the organization, was putting out a lawsuit, and claiming racist hiring practices across the NFL, and then saying that had something to do with his time with the Dolphins. So, and how he was fired, the way he was treated, how he was treated as a stepping stone coach to get through some rebuilding years, and they wanted him to intentionally tank and all this. So I think they just wanted a 180 from his personality to someone entirely different, which Mike McDaniel certainly is that. So I think that was definitely the mindset.
And they all do this all the time. All franchises do this all the time.
Right. Go offensive coach, defensive coach. Often, which is also what they did going from Adam Gase to Flores to then McDaniel again, etc. So now with Weaver, you're right. This guy, he's a guy who's going to be a great head coaching candidate. He has now had head coaching interviews for 2 years running. A guy that a franchise that whenever a franchise moves from one coach to another and is hiring, that would be a great leader of men to go take that next step. So, of course, that was always the thing when you're talking about Mike McDaniel hiring a defensive coordinator, and then if things go awry, then it was a big question mark. Is would you then be hiring your potential replacement if a season goes wrong? And I don't think you were there mentally when he was getting that contract renewal, the extension going into 2024, back-to-back playoff appearances. Everyone was high on the whole tenure. So it wasn't there at that point, but sort of you thought maybe Anthony Weaver would be a one-year rental and then find something elsewhere, but still hasn't happened for him as a head coach with another team. So, yes, he is there for another year and could very well be one of the top head coaching candidates for next season, and you already have him in-house. And what was the other part? So the trade itself, which right, if you are a tandem on the hot seat, you don't go trade.
The trade with the entire moves of the offseason, free agent, like no cap space, like they didn't go after any money or anything like that. That's what I'm saying collectively. So go ahead.
Yeah. Which would seem for a tandem, if they are on the hot seat, then you wouldn't be trading this year's picks for next year's picks. If anything, you would try to do the opposite, and that's why I was wondering if Stephen Ross would block them from taking away any 2026 capital. But I mean, that's a move where if you are even if you are a GM on the hot seat, if you are not convicted about a player at that pick, then that's a move you make because that you got the value, you won the trade value-wise, turning a fourth into a third. So objectively, even if you know you'll be there next year, do you know whether or not that's a trade you make unless you really wanted a guy. Now, it's also the reverse trade that they made last year. I mean, almost exactly. Jalen Wright, getting him in the fourth round, trading in, and that's why you didn't have a third rounder this year. So it's sort of is it a fix of one that, I mean, you barely used Jalen Wright and the jury's still out on him, but you did waste a third rounder for this draft, and that was why you did not pick, or part of the reason why you did not pick for more than 100 selections when you traded up in the second round, didn't have your own third rounder, used the compensatory third rounder you had for that trade up, and then once you got to the fourth round, you traded out. That was why you kind of just missed out on the whole middle part of the draft. Part of it was trading into the fourth round last year to grab Jalen Wright.
Yeah, but that's the problem when you have a coach that's a scatterbrain. You need something, and then you get it for him, but yet he doesn't know how to implement it and get it involved. And so now you'll see Jalen Wright more involved this year, but it's like it's insanity. It's the whole Gesicki thing, and then Jonnu Smith, or big receivers or whatever. This guy has a problem. Just, he's a scatterbrain, dude. I mean, the running game's working, and he doesn't know how to stay with it at times. Like, what's wrong with you, bro? And look at the league. When you can run, it's a huge advantage, and it's just like, that's our. I think they finally realized it way too late, but I think they realized it. Like, I see Ragin goes, oh, everybody thinks Weaver will permanently replace McD by midseason. Yeah, that's the lazy thinking, because everybody thinks that he's going to get fired and you'll put Weaver because that's the obvious. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this is the plan. They already know that McDaniel is going to fail. They already got their plan in place. It's just they have to go through it now because they've already gave McDaniel an extension. So now after this whole thing fell apart this offseason, that Calais Campbell didn't want to be a part of this, that Holland wanted the hell out of here, and he was dying to get the hell out of here, then Jalen Ramsey doesn't want to be here, and others, as I've been saying for months. There's a bunch of people in that building, and I think it kind of built up in that building like, whoa, we got the wrong guy leading us. And I think now the whole thing has kind of shifted this whole offseason of, all right, well, we'll play the game, but we're not going to give all the cards to this guy because he mishandles the full deck every time we give it to him. And so, all right, well, we'll do what we can. And then if he can prove his worth, great. If he doesn't, we need to make sure we keep Weaver, because here's the other thing, dude. The Miami Dolphins are like the Miami Heat now, or vice versa, however you want to look at it. The Heat is now like the Dolphins. And I tried to tell Ira that now, because, they keep writing every offseason about a whale and this and that. And I'm like, yo, bro, nobody wants to come here anymore. No players dying to come here to the Miami Heat. They're not dying to play for Pat Riley. They barely even know who he is nowadays. The rings on the table bullshit, none of that works. You either have to have the money, the cap space, or the picks. And guess what? They don't have the cap space or the picks, and they don't have sexy players. So they're not going anywhere, okay? It just is what it is. And I think that these guys, they are what they are right now at this point in time. They're not sexy. So the best candidates in football are never going to come here anymore. We had that run when you got Jimmy, you got Saban, and you got Parcells. After that, you're not really getting that established, that big name, that guy. He's probably going to choose an organization. Whatever the top candidate is not going to choose you anymore. They're going to choose the better organization. Now that you have Weaver, you may not have a better candidate. In fact, I think Weaver might be the best candidate I've seen in years, bro. I like him more than Cam Cameron or Flo or Sperano, rest in peace, or Philbin or whatever. I feel better about Weaver than I do most guys. And I think in that building, they're like, yeah, we need to make sure we pivot as quick as possible when the moment is right this year. I'm just saying.
On the part of the Dolphins, whether they're a sexy organization for someone to go to, let's not forget, if it were not for the Brian Flores lawsuit, it could have easily gone the way of having a Sean Payton, Tom Brady combination. While Brady still had something left in the tank. Remember, he won the Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. So it could have, and Sean Payton has since taken another head coaching job with the Broncos, got them back into the playoffs. They're on the rise as well. Remember, they were going after that.
That's not Miami. That's Tom Brady and Sean Payton going, hey, we can go here and manipulate it for our purposes. That's not their sexiness or their culture or anything that they're coming here. They are the ones that will bring the culture and say, okay, we can get our deal done here quickly. They could do that wherever they wanted to go. And that's exactly, oh, no, I'll just go to Tampa and I'll go to Denver. You know what I mean? It's not a Miami thing. That was kind of more of a convenient thing. And again, that was a connection thing that the owner, the second owner, knew Brady and all that. So they put the meeting together. That doesn't mean that it was going to happen, because once other people get wind of it, then others will say, hey, no, we want you guys here. And you never know what happens then after that. So just because that meeting was going to happen or whatever, that doesn't mean that it really would have ended up happening. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it was a potential possibility. But
yeah, Peyton Manning also visited us too.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then I vaguely remember that. Well, he got scared away when he saw what was going on down here. But yeah. So, but then even then after that, there was the view, the perception, like, okay, this is on the rise. So I mean, it was a sexy place when Tyreek Hill wanted to work his way here. When Jalen Ramsey the next offseason did. When Teron Armstead signed free agency.
Admitted that he came.
That just happened. Calais Campbell last year. It was just there. It's just now you are no longer on the rise that way. People, so it flips on you very quickly. Now, the notion of, okay, the organization knows this is going to be it for McDaniel. This is last season. He'll probably fail and got the plan in place. I wouldn't go that far, because you still have him in place for this season, and you're riding with it. I feel like you are trying to win, and you're trying to give him the trade up in that second round to give him the guard that he needs, give him the big wide receiver that he needs to complement the guys in his receiving core. Like, you're still trying to win with him now this year, and I think, believe me, it's just harder to do it. It's just going to be harder to do it with Now, you won't have Jalen Ramsey on the other side. Calais Campbell wants out. It's going to be harder. The cards are more stacked against you, but you're going to have to prove if you're worthy to stay longer, you'll have to do it with a more difficult situation in front of you.
Right. They're giving him a chance, but with limitations. It's not, you didn't have everything that you had the last 2 years to work with. And that's why I kind of look at it. It's not like they're saying, oh, yeah, he'll fail and we'll put Weaver in place. They're going to try, but they're not like going all full board because of the situation. And they can't keep putting money into something that is not really kosher right now. And they can't just fire him because they just gave him the contract. So they're going to give him a legitimate chance. And if he can prove himself, great. And if not, I just kind of feel like they're prepared to move on. You know, like they have planned this out almost. Like whatever happens, if he coaches great, we're awesome. We're great. We're fantastic. If he screws up, we have plan B in place. That's kind of what I feel like. You know,
we have to at least start thinking that in the back of your head, even if you don't put it out there, you know, even within the organization, if you don't put it out there to others, you have to at least start thinking what would happen. What are the different ways that it could go in 2025 and what would happen in the event where, hey, you were already close to moving on in 2024. You had to put out the statement an hour after the finale because a lot of people were wondering. So then if it goes awry again, yes, what would happen? And you know you have a strong candidate in place. Now, of course, if all that transpires and you would still open it up to who the other head coaching candidates in the next cycle are, but you already know at least there's one that is right there in your building.
And by the way, Tyreek admitted that he came to Miami purely out of money. Okay? Purely out of money because the tax situation in New York. And that's that was he said it in that conversation. So it wasn't really that we're not really that sexy ever. It's usually that we just give you great money and you come. That's usually what ends up happening. It's not that Ndamukong Suh thought we were great. No, they just paid him like a quarterback. So he came on down and he joined us. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of who we've been. But now at this point, you're not sexy at all. You're not going to get the best candidate next year if you just open it up. So I think now they kind of got all their ducks in order just in case if it goes awry. I think they pull the lever, they break glass and say, "Come on, Weaver, take over," and here we go. Because this offseason was not balls out, bro. There was nothing about this offseason that was balls out. We're trying to win. This was an offseason like, all right, we'll try to fill with what we got and there, but we're not going to open up more and try to create what they could have, and they didn't. And I think that's because I think they finally faced the facts that this is probably the end of the road with this guy. I'm just saying.
Now they also did invest in the trenches, so maybe a change in philosophy of, all right, we need to really focus on this trench play. Highest price free agent contract was to a guard, James Daniels, traded up in the second round for another one in Jonas Savaiinaia. First round pick was used on a big defensive tackle in Kenneth Grant. Now they're leaving themselves a little exposed in the secondary. We'll see how that plays out. But there still should be another free agent signing to make there once they Let me have some fun with
that one. Okay. So sometimes your team that's going to depend on pass rush. So you drafted a guy that can penetrate and create problems. He's a defensive tackle that can hold people up too, but he's a guy that can actually penetrate and create issues. Yeah. Sealer can create issues for you also from that spot. Now you'll have your three pass rushers, Chop and the two other guys back.
Yeah.
So if you can become a team that can pressure the quarterback and you don't expose that secondary, which is what Josh, what's his name? When he had Boyer. Remember a couple years back, he had nobody in the secondary. Everybody was injured. So the only way he would survive was blitzing and sending people because he did not want to leave his secondary too exposed out there. And it would work at times, actually. In fact, they would lose more of their games more on offense than because of their defense, if you really looked at it. So I think that's what they're trying to do. They'll try their best to be the best secondary they can possibly be, but I think what they did was they focused really on the front seven so they can be really impactful in that area. I love what they did in the draft, by the way. I really do. I like what they did.
Yeah. So that front seven starts to look really fierce. When you put a Zach Sealer combination with Kenneth Grant, who could contribute from day one, playing a position like defensive tackle, right? Yeah. So and that he's not just a run stuffer at his size, that he can seriously create an interior pass rush. And Zach Sealer has already proven he has that. 10 sack seasons, both of the past 2 years. No matter who you put with him, it was with Christian Wilkins. He had 10 sacks. Then you wondered last year, that was a big question. Could he do it again? When he doesn't have him, it was Calais Campbell, who could give you kind of 50% of the snaps, not play all the time like Wilkins did. He still put together 10 sacks, and that's rushing from the inside of the defensive line. So that's impressive. And then Chubb Robinson should take another stride. And then if Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb are healthy, what a rotation you will have of pass rushers there, where maybe you could even have some packages where you get the three of them in there, and it's not just like two outside linebackers. You could have some third down packages where you put them all in there, and Jordan Brooks in the middle to lead that linebacker core, who I love there. So, that's a strong front seven that you're going to have. And there's still going to be a free agent signing at cornerback, and I do like the safety they signed, Ifeatu Melifonwu, who again he's got the injury concerns, but if he's healthy, I like his versatility with how they can play him at safety in the box. He's a former corner, a converted corner, so you could go put him on the boundary, play the nickel, blitz if you need to. He could be that new Swiss Army knife, ultimate chess piece that Anthony Weaver will be missing with Jalen Ramsey. Obviously not to the level of Jalen Ramsey, but he's a guy who can do all those different things. So that might be the one who now, in conjunction with Kader Kohu, who's also versatile, they start to move around.
What do you got going on in the Sentinel so folks can check you out?
Yeah, wrapping up everything draft-wise, and then since the cornerback position was largely ignored to start the draft, and then he picked one into the fifth rounder. Obviously, we know the secondary free agent market post-draft is the big focus. So I did put out just yesterday a listing the guys who are the remaining free agents and who could be some of those candidates as far as a cornerback free agent signing.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at David Feronis _ and catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. As always, my brother, thank you. We will catch up on Friday.
Sir, sounds good.
Let's hope to have some free agent signings by then. All right, man. Thank you. Welton Rayom, Jeff Welton, Daniel Rayom. Nobody works harder for you than Jeff and Dan. Bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury, man. Call them 954-966-4646. A bunch of our listeners over the years have called, and they are in much better shape. They took care of us also, brought Progressive to their knees. So if you're dealing with any of these issues right now, call Jeff Welton, Daniel Rayom. And by the way, the consultation is completely free. So if you want to find out if you have a case or not, it's all free. Conversation, you'll get that answer, and then you'll get the best tackles in the business, baby. Jeff Welt and Daniel Rayom, 954-966-4646.
This has been another session of the Welton Rayom Miami Dolphins Report with David Feronis. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
All right. Dolphin Dave says, if you feel that way, why would you keep him around for a year? He won't be around. Says, that's just stupid. I know Chris Greer was safe. The owner hired the coach. I think you should look around, but I like Weaver. Listen, man, this is just my theory. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, But I just kind of feel, because of all the stuff going on in the building, and after they signed him, I don't think they realized how bad it was in the building. And then now they've kind of gotten a feeling for it. And for Frankie, Holland wanted to get paid, but Holland didn't want to be here. Okay? Make no mistake about it. Holland did not want to be here at all. He had had enough of this place. So he wanted to move on. Okay? So he told the Dolphins also to kick rocks. Yes, sir.
Just so you know, you are frozen, but the audio is fine.
Oh, okay. All right. Give me a 30-second break and I'll fix the camera. Go for it.
After 40 years, the Big Cheese Miami is still producing great Italian food. They started in 1984. Since then, they've been winning awards while being voted the best inexpensive Italian restaurant in Miami. Visit them for great food, amazing service. Witness the decades of Cane's memories. The walls are like a Miami Hurricanes Hall of Fame. The Big Cheese delivers anything on its menu or party platter menu to your home, office, or even a park for a picnic. Located at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue, Miami. Call 305-662-6855. TheBigCheeseMiami.com, where they serve large portions at family prices.
They're stuck. They got salaries in place. They just gave him a brand new contract. It would look terrible for them to fire him right now. Plus, they're going to give him a chance to redeem himself. And if he can redeem himself, then you got balance. You got your head coach. You got your defensive coordinator in place. Well, your head coach / offensive coordinator. Remember, Darryl Bevel has got experience as a offensive coordinator. I think that they know they have plan B in place right now. And that's why they have to go forward. Right now, it would make no sense to fire him. If you're going to fire him, you should have fired him before you gave him an extension. So you have to wait to be given an excuse to fire him. So if he doesn't, it doesn't. Either way, here's who was it that asked that, that said that it's Dolphin Dave. Either way, whether it's Weaver or whoever, who's winning with this team? So what are we splitting hairs here? What are we arguing about? Nothing. This season is about, again, you guys got to compartmentalize all of this. Stop thinking you got something going on this season. You got nothing going on. So, got to go through the transition. And they're prepared. If McDaniel shocks the world and figures shit out, they stay status quo. And they're fine, and everybody's job is safe. But if McDaniel does McDaniel things, and they kind of get a feeling for everything, they say, okay, well, we'll part ways. We fire him, and we put Weaver in there. And we got our backup plan, and we move on. What are you going to do? But at this point, they're already committed to everything. They're already, trade Tua. You can't. You're already committed. Oh, trade Tyreek. You can't. You're already committed. They really cannot trade Jalen Ramsey. But unfortunately, Jalen Ramsey told them, I don't want to be here. So now they've got a real problem. Because when Jalen Ramsey wants to be a dick, he can be a king-size one. And they know it. So they're screwed now. Do they want to lose $9 million of cap space? Of course not. That's what I've been trying to explain to all of you out there. They cannot afford to trade anybody. And you think McDaniel, now they sit there and they go, wow, we're losing this. They went through this with Flo. They lost Minka because of Flo. Now it's not that Jalen Ramsey's the end all be all, but he's better than anything you have now. And because of the coach, he doesn't want to be here. So that's one less, weapon you have for this season. So it doesn't matter. By putting Weaver at the beginning, all you're doing is adding more losses to his overall record. So let this thing play out. If they fire McDaniel 5, 7, 10 games in, then Weaver takes over and and that's it. But at least you have something to look forward to. But I kind of feel like plan B's in place. And they've acted like, all right, here we go. We can't put more and more assets into this guy anymore. And that's what they did not invest more into their coach in year 4. That's an indictment on McDaniels. And it should be, by the way. It should be. He's rewarded them that way, that when they get something, he doesn't do it. And he doesn't use it or whatever. And it's just, yeah, ridiculous. By the way, if you're looking to sell your home, my buddy Osmani Garcia does an amazing job, folks, with the Omega Realty Group, and he can sell your home in 30 days or less. And he gives you a guarantee. He will sell your home in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it. And by the way, no excuses, no delays, no fine print games, none of that. And I've known Osmani for a long time, over 15 years. Honest dude, hard working. So if you live in the state of Florida, all right, call my guy Osmani Garcia. He's the man. 305-440-1990. That's his personal cell number. So you'll get in contact with him. He's always moving around. 305-440-1990 for the Omega Realty Group. And if you're serious about selling your home, call Osmani. He'll do it in 30 days or less, or buy your home. Call him and see if your home qualifies. 305-440-1990. Ocala Joe. Oh, I agree that nothing can save this season based on what we've seen from McDumbass. However, we could start the rebuild a little faster if we place him with Weaver. Yeah, but I explained why they can't. The optics and everything. And so you already committed to him. Give him the chance to redeem himself if he can. You gave him a brand new contract, so might as well just give him a last shot at this. Okay? Remember, just because I gave up on him a while back, or some of you have given up on him, you know, they got to kind of go through the process of giving him that opportunity. And in a way, it's a good look for them, because it would actually be a bad look that, like, you gave him a new contract and then you scheme behind him and then just got rid of him, and then other coaches and other people would look at that situation like, yo, what's going on there? This way, if it plays out where it doesn't go well and you fire him and he's got a brand new contract and everything, you look good, because you gave him a chance. In the coaching world, you gave him a chance to redeem himself, plus he's walking away with a brand new contract. So he can't complain, and neither could the coaching world. Here, if you do something, it just looks very unstable. Just, looks crazy. Looks very, very much like another office in our country that makes decisions on the whim, and they change their minds over and over again. And, no, we'll do this. No, we'll do that, So, yeah, you got to just let this process play out. But the way I see it, they have plan B in place. And they have methodically set it up. Just in case it happens, they are ready to go, which I give them credit. And I got to say, I like it, because I don't know if we'll find a guy better than Weaver to come here. Look at the guys we've had here before this guy. Like I told you, I haven't seen Weaver as a head coach yet, but from what I've watched for a year, I already like his makeup more than most of the guys we've ever had here. So I think they see that too and say, we can't let it leave the building. So if this guy screws up, we need to put him in there as the interim right away. That way we could get him going and keep him. Just throwing it out there. Matthew Owen is tired of our coach, he says. Join the club. Corso, Travin, is it true? If you don't use it, you lose it. Yes, very true. Very true. You must use it or you lose it. Can't leave the car parked in the garage and not give it a spin. Got to do that, bro. Got to do that. Car gets stiff. Engine, oil won't work. It's like that cartoon I saw a while back. It's a doctor. He's with his patient, and he's looking at an X-ray. And one picture, it shows regular sperm. And in the other picture, it shows frogs. So, the initial stuff looks like tadpoles, and then, okay. Anyway. So, and the doctor turns to the patient and says, it looks like you haven't had sex in a while. So, if you don't use it, they turn into frogs. Yes. Big O, in 2020, the Finns drafted 3 O-linemen, 1 DT. This year they drafted 3 DT and 1 O-lineman. But don't call it a rebuild. And don't call it a comeback either. I respect Big O's opinion, but you people on the chat board get easily influenced. Yeah, and you're always so right. Doom and gloom in the house, I see. Give him 1 game. He needs to get it lost, and he's done, says Dolphin Dave. Anthony Campos says, Big O struggled to sell my Heat tickets yesterday. I couldn't even get a trade in the arena for arena packets of ketchup. Yeah, no. I mean, who would want those tickets? Will says Tyler should have been gone after his rookie season. Sell high. We are the guy that waits on the lady to start loving him. I don't know, man, but I know this. Our front office, the last 10 years, not good. Riley and the boys have got to pick it up, dude. But the worst part is they need to take like 8 steps back to go forward. It's nuts. Let's see what else do we have going on. Let's get to our 3A Graphics sports calendar. Alan Blanco and the great people at 3A Graphics. If you need custom printing, embroidery, anything like that for your school, your corporation, your institution, whatever, call them. Shirts, hats, uniforms. You can do that all by phone and everything else. 786-618-1443. CAVS destroy the Heat 138-83. Eliminate the Unriley-like team 4-0. Sweep. Tomorrow night, Inter Miami takes on Vancouver at Chase Stadium for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And they've got to win 3-0 in order to advance. Not going to be easy. Anyway, Fort Lauderdale United on Saturday, beyond Bankcard Field in Davie, they will host Brooklyn FC. And in NFL football, George Kittle signs an extension with the Niners, a 4-year, $76.4 million deal that includes $40 million in guarantees. That is your 3A Graphics sports calendar. Excusez-moi. Pat in Nashville says he'll buy your Heat tickets. What a terrible season for the Heat, man. I feel bad for them. Such a great organization, and they're going through some really, really rough moments, man. What do we got here? Where is Bitcoin at right now? It is right at 95,000. I told you we're screwing around here. If we don't pop into the deep 95, 96 to close out today or tomorrow, we could be on risk of going down a little bit, which not the end of the world, but we could go down in the lower 90s into the high 80s. So good chance to accumulate. Let's do a little music before I continue with your questions, comments, and all kinds of good stuff. Let's go with musicians born on the 29th. All righty. Mike Hogan, bass player with the Cranberries, born in 1973. Carney Wilson of the Wilson Phillips duo, daughter of Beach Boys Brian Wilson, born in 1968. Phil King, bassist for Lush, born in 1960. Who else is celebrating birthdays today? Tommy James from the Shondells. Tommy James and the Shondells, born in 1947. Dwayne Allen, vocalist for the country and gospel vocal quartet, the Oak Ridge Boys. Giddy up, ba-doom, ba-doom, mama. Hi, Silver. All right, let's see who else. Klaus Vormann, the German artist. He played bass with Manfred Mann. And Dougie Fresh. Klaus Vormann was the bassist for Manfred Mann and the Plastic Ono Band, bitch. Born in 1942. So, Dougie Fresh, your favorite band. Let's see who else. Willie Nelson, smoking that weed in 1933. Happy birthday to him. That's it, I think. Carl Garden from the Coasters. Yakety yak, don't come back. Born in 1928. Oh, and Duke Ellington. Born in 1899. We lost them just recently in 1974. That is musicians born on this date. Let's go with other famous people celebrating birthdays today. Who's celebrating a birthday today? Let's go with Luis Aparicio. Cubano, I think, if I'm correct. Born in 1934. He is still with us, 91 years old. Let's see. Johnny Miller, golfer, born in 47. He's 78 today. Dale Earnhardt Sr. was born on this date in 51. Obviously no longer with us. Jerry Seinfeld was born on this date in 54. He's 71. Daniel Day-Lewis, excellent actor, born in 57. He's 68. Michelle Pfeiffer, born in 58. She is 67, and she needs a cool rider. A cool rider. Eve Plum, born in 58. She's 67. Andre Agassi, born in 70. He's 55. Uma Thurman, born in 70. She's 55. Master P, born in 70. He's 55. Let's see. Actor Catherine Langford, born in 96. She's 29. U.S. Women's National Team member Mallory Pugh, born in 98. She's 27. Actor Ella Hunt, born in 98. She's 27. And that is it for other famous people born on this date. Sean Stanley, do you have wrestlers?
Yes, we do. Quite a few, actually. Oksana turns 43. Andrea DeMarco.
Oksana Bayul was a ballet and a wrestler. I didn't know Oksana was.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We take them everywhere.
Gymnast and gymnastics for wrestling.
There's a lot of gymnastics. Tiffany Stratton's one of the few newer ones that are doing.
A lot of gymnastics involved in wrestling. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Andrea DeMarco is 44. Vikingo, he turns 28. Javon Evans turns 21. Kishin Kawabata is 60. Masahiro Kakahara is 53. Mila Grace is 32. Paul Roma turns 66 today. Titus O'Neil turns 48. And Zachary Wentz turns 31 on April 29th, 2025.
All right. Now, by the way, my whole thing talking about how I think the Dolphins have kind of set themselves up and how I think this might really end up happening, we have to let it all play out. He has to not just get fired and then replaced by Weaver, but then that Chris Grier survives and stays in place. And that will tell us all, as I've been saying for a while now, since last year, that is McDaniel his hire completely, or is it influence from somewhere else? And because he's easygoing, he went along with it and all that. And then the way the offseason was carried, it just kind of tells me he's safe, not him. So we'll find out. But all of this has to line up to say that that's what it was. Okay, so if Weaver does replace him and Weaver and Grier return in 26, then that was the plan. That was it. Now, if Weaver replaces him and Grier doesn't survive, then that wasn't the plan. It was just, hey, man, we're just going to hire the guy from within and, move on or whatever. And that's what normal people like Ragin, that's what normal people are thinking. Oh, no, yeah, just replace him with Weaver. And yeah, but is it, part of the whole vision right now from here on out? Because the way they've carried the offseason and free agency, it just smells that way. All right, let's go to music history. Let's find out what happened today in music history. In April 29th, in 1980, Black Sabbath began their first tour with Ronnie James Dio as the singer. Those two albums, Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules, two of the greatest heavy metal albums of all time. The amazing part is that split, those two Black Sabbath albums were amazing. Not the best ever or whatever. I still love the Ozzy years more, but still those albums are golden. And then Ozzy with Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. If you think about it, Mob Rules, Heaven and Hell, Diary of a Madman, and Blizzard of Oz, those four are easily in the top 50 greatest metal albums of all time. Maybe top 20. But I'm just for shits and giggles, easily top 50. Easy. Like, it's not even up for discussion. We can start getting on how lower they are in the top 50. But it's an interesting split that created four albums that I can play in a freaking loop. All four of them. Oh, my God. In 99, Motley Crue announced that drummer Tommy Lee had quit the band to spend time with his family and work on a new group called Methods of Mayhem. He joined Motley Crue in 2004. In 76, Bruce Springsteen tried to climb over the fence at Elvis Presley's Graceland estate in an attempt to see the King. Instead, he was escorted off the premises by guards. Bro, that's the boss. Problem is, in 76, he's not the boss. In 89, John Bon Jovi married his childhood sweetheart, Dorothy Hurley, on the steps of Las Vegas Graceland Chapel. In 93, famed guitarist and producer Mick Ronson, died of liver cancer at the age of 46. By the way, I'm just going to go off here. Mick Ronson, I'm just putting one and one together. Is Mark Ronson the one that's in with Bruno Mars and in the video? Is he his son? Look up Mick Ronson and Mark Ronson for me, because Mark Ronson is also a very famous producer. And so I see 93 famed guitarist and producer Mick Ronson died from liver cancer at the age of 46. And then I'm thinking of modern day producer Mark Ronson. I'm going, bro, is there a bloodline here? Please find out for me there, Sean. In 2003, Pearl Jam bought a 1,400 square mile area of rainforest in Madagascar to offset the 5,700 tons of greenhouse gas emissions they estimated their last North American tour had incurred. Strong. Heaven and Hell is an amazing record and the only Sabbath album I really like, and I'm not a fan of doom and gloom metal. Oh, Heaven and Hell is so good. Yes, sir.
I don't think they are.
Okay.
He's got a daughter and 2 sons, but they are named Nicholas and Joaquin.
Okay, no. Okay. All right. That would be very interesting if they would have been related, because they're both producers and both named Ronson. I'm like, damn, dude, what are the chances? Yeah, usually you feel like bloodline sometimes follows bloodline in certain aspects of life. Jermaine says, I think it's funny how the Heat got swept and blown out by a record margin in the playoffs. Meanwhile, Jimmy is about to move on to the second round, a much tougher conference, Yeah, but Houston is not a great team. They're a really young team. They've never been there. So it's actually the perfect storm for the Warriors. We'll see if they move on after that. That will be the interesting one. This is kind of the perfect storm. They ran into a team that has no experience. So it's kind of perfect for them in that sense. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, the Heat got what they deserved, unfortunately. Like I said a few years back, they had to trade him right after that last run to the championship. But they were intoxicated, and so were many of you. And so, like the Heat, a lot of you screwed up, and you wanted to keep Jimmy around. And now you paid the price. And now you lost him for absolutely nothing. So it really doesn't matter, because eventually his body will break down at some point or another, and he'll pull some bullshit like he always does. So to me, it is what it is. They weren't going to win anything with Jimmy because they weren't good enough. And they're not winning anything now either. So, move on. And it is what it is. They got what they deserved. They should have traded him a few years back, but they didn't have good foresight, and they paid the price. You think with your foreskin, you pay the price. And that's what happened. So we are out of here. We thank, of course, the great Sean Stanley, Ira Winderman, and David Feronis. We shall see you all tomorrow. We'll be live at Subaru of Pembroke Pines, 16100 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines. Come on out. We start at noon tomorrow, so a later show. Noon, baby. All right? See you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel.